Alright everybody, what's going on? My name is Brendan Sobalski and welcome back to another Average Joe's Informational video. If you're new to trout fishing, if this is your first time coming up to Algonquin this year and you want to catch a trout, these are the essential lures you're going to need to do so.
Well, I'm wishing I was fishing, but I'm stuck out
Good show for the camera.
Money is good, but my boss is a jerk. Got Monday to Friday, I don't know if it's worth. Wishing I was fishing while I'm stuck at work.
We have some really big plans this year, Lyle and myself, for Algonquin Park. Some big plans and a lot of plans. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be an awesome spring. We have some really good trips planned. We're going to catch some fish. We've been doing our research. We've been studying maps. We've been studying all the online resources that we tell you guys about all the time, that we told you guys about in this video right here. That video is how to catch an Algonquin Park brook trout. So, since that video performed so well when we put it out, and that is still our #1 most viewed video, we kind of came to the decision that this year we're gonna post a lot more informational video about the park. Stuff that we have learned over the last few years. We're by no means experts. We are average Joes. You have to learn every time you go out. There's always something to learn. If you don't learn something every time you go fishing, you're not a good fisherman. You have to take a piece of knowledge every single time you go out. This video in particular, I am going to be discussing my favorite brook trout lures. Now this can pertain to anywhere. It doesn't specifically have to be Algonquin, but these lures that I'm gonna list and show you in the next few minutes are lures that I have used, Lyle has used, my dad has used, friends have used, lots of people have used to catch brook trout, whether it be in the park or out of the park. So I'm gonna give a bit of a rundown through my top 5 favorite spoons, as well as my top 5 favorite spinners, and then I'm gonna give a couple honorable mentions in this video for other baits that I believe should be in this, but I have tackle boxes with 5 sections, so I figured top 5 of each would be great. Spoons, spinners, what's it gonna be? So stay tuned. We're gonna do a run through of them right now. Okay, so I am gonna start with spoons. Spoons is probably my favorite lure to use in the park. They're versatile in all waters, whether it be moving water, lakes, anything. They're good for trolling, they're good for casting, and they're effective. They catch a lot of trout, they work. If you have these lures in your tackle box and you're going fishing for brook trout, these are the ones that you're gonna want to have on your side. You're gonna wanna have a couple of each in your tackle box. My #1 Algonquin Park spoon, we're gonna start this off with a bang, is the Weaver Grabber Perch pattern. So the Weaver Grabbers have a very nice, almost S shape to the body. These lures have a great action. So I use the 3/8 ounce. That's the biggest size of Weaver Grabbers you can order online. When you're trolling, casting, those are great lures to use. The spoons have an awesome action. You can cast farther. It'll sink deeper whether you're trolling. Brook trout love eating perch, especially little juvenile perch. So for that reason, and for the reason why last year I caught this big 20.5-inch brookie on a perch pattern lure, that guy right there has been used. That has caught some fish. I also like the brown trout pattern right there. Now this one has a copper back, as you can see. Trout love perch. The back of this is gold, but the perch pattern from Weaver Grabber, 3/8 ounce size, is my #1 spoon. I have had a lot of success with it, and I've seen a lot of success with it. So now #2, as you can see again, is very worn down. The little Cleo blue and silver 2/5 ounce. Now 2/5 is a fairly big size lure. It's a lighter lure, so little Cleos compared to the Weaver, there's a lot more surface area for roughly the same weight. The little Cleos also have a very nice swooping pattern to them. They're shaped very similar to the Weaver Grabber. They have that almost S shape to them. So this lure right here specifically is the one I caught my PB on last year. Now, like I said, little Cleos are a very good lure. They do work well for trout. Now, the size I caught my PB on last year was a 1/4 ounce. So if you're fishing in lakes, you can go bigger because you're gonna be getting bigger sized fish. You're gonna be getting fish potentially like the ones behind me on the wall. They're gonna be a nicer size. So you can go that extra size up with lures. So I would always try to be a little bit versatile. It depends on your trip. If you're not hitting any moving water, I would go for bigger size the majority, but I would still make sure to throw in a couple smaller lures because if fish are being finicky, they may not necessarily bite a big spoon. They might want something small. It might just be a small, tiny little presentation that invokes a bite. Little Cleo, the blue and silver has been a tried and true. I've caught a lot of fish on them. I've done well with them. They seem to work. And then the perch pattern Little Cleo 1/4 ounce as well does the trick. It caught a nice one last year for me, so I can't deny that it works. Now, another lure synonymous with Algonquin Park fishing is the EGB. Now, if you check out EGB, you can buy their lures online. They are a very effective little lure, a little spoon. They work great. I believe these are 1/4 ounce. They work in small streams because you can get EGBs in a very small size as well. They come in a lot wider of a range than a Weaver Grabber. There is there's micro spoons that they make essentially, and they work good. Anything with red, I always find works good. I don't know if red is just like a predatory color where a fish sees red and then they think that's an injured bait. A little bit of red on the edge or a couple dots of red, that seems to work. Now, another thing I should address with Algonquin Park is that if you've never been there, people think of it like it's like Lake Louise, that super turquoise colored water that's coming out of the ground and out of mountains, and it's crystal clear and you can drink right out of the lakes, but that's not how Algonquin is. There's about a dozen lakes in the park that are headwater lakes that do have that turquoise, clear looking, beautiful water. The majority of Algonquin waters are like a tea colored brown. They're a stained water. Most of the water isn't coming directly out of springs like these headwater lakes. You have to match the hatch. You have to remember that when you're fishing, match the hatch. And copper it seems to be a very, very good color in the park. Copper is probably one of my favorite colors for a backing on a lure. Not the pattern on the front, but the backing would be a copper. Number 4 is the Williams lures. Now Ridgebacks work great. Wobblers are they're synonymous with Algonquin Park and with brook trout fishing. I specifically right here have a silver and a gold Ridgeback. I like the hammered finish on lures. I do like that. I find it reflects the light differently. Like if you're out on a nice sunny day with a little bit of chop on the water, which is like ideal brook trout conditions, just a chop, it breaks up the light, and something with the hammered lures seems to really make that flash, I guess, off the lures react differently. I enjoy Williams wobblers, Williams Ridgebacks. They work good. They catch trout, they catch lake trout, they catch speckles. Williams lures are also a very light lure. As you can see, they're a very thin steel. They're not as thick as the Weavers or as the Little Cleos. So for shore fishing, they probably won't cast as far for you, but they do have a nice, very light fluttering action when they're being trolled through the water or casted and retrieved. They work very nicely, just a gentle swoop to them, and they work. So that would be another one that I would add to your terminal tackle list for Algonquin. Number 5 is the moose luck. Now, a lot of guys probably don't even know what a moose luck is. They work. I've seen them work very well from shore. They have a very good action, and again, like I said, they are a very light lure, very thin steel on them. These ones are both hammered. I like the green and yellow with the copper backing. That's a good lure. Also, there's a silver and blue, I believe, that works good too. But moose lucks are a good spoon. I would definitely recommend adding them to your tackle box. They're good for casting. They're good for trolling. They have a totally different action. The shape on these is very different. They're shaped a lot like a bait fish. So if you look at the profile of it, it's got that minnow shape to it. So they seem to work. I've seen them work lots, caught some fish on them. They have a nice, like I said, like similar to the Williams, they have a very light body to them, so they have a nice swooping, slow moving, fluttering action when they go through the water. Like a wobble, like they're back and forth like this. They're not like the Weaver Grabber's kind of like going fast. Whereas the Williams and the Moose Lucks that are light, they're more of a woof, 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 woof. So that does it for my top 5 spoons. Spinner time, baby! Now spinners are a lure that I use a lot less than spoons, I will admit. I do like a spinner if you're casting from shore. Trolling, not so much. A spinner isn't something I'm going to troll around with much. They are very effective with casting, whether you're in a canoe and you're casting towards shore or you're on shore and you're casting out into the water. They work. We have used a lot of spinners over the years, and if we're not getting bites from shore on organic baits, we almost always switch to spinners. We've had days where we could not get a bite, so we threw on a spinner. I will tell you which one in a second. We threw on a spinner and every cast, you couldn't keep them off. So I'm gonna go through some of my tried and true spinners next. So to start it off, like I was just mentioning, the lure that will catch you fish after fish if they're finicky, and that has lots of times for us, is the Blue Fox. Now, you cannot go wrong with a Blue Fox lure. Number 2 size is probably my favorite size to use. You can use a number 1, but number 2 is definitely my favorite size Blue Fox spinner to use. Blue Foxes are effective, they work good. I've used them, the Vibrax. I've been using the Blue Fox Vibrax. I always have one in my tackle box, always. And I catch a lot of trout from shore, from the campsite in Algonquin with the Blue Fox Vibrax.
Switched it up again. The Moose Luck was not working, so I got the old Blue Fox Super Vibrax, number 2 size, just a silver. Oh, geez. Bit 10 feet in front of off the shore. That's funny. Trout number 3 for the day. Little brookie, gonna let it go.
My favorite color is silver, but it's up to you to buy some other colors as well. You know, buy a silver. I would always have that, but buy a couple other patterns. Try something different. Try some rainbow trout pattern or some chartreuse. The only way you're really gonna figure it out, and how I've figured out a lot, is by using them. Just buying different lures, take them on a trip and try them out. So number 2 for spinners, I love this brand, is MEPS. You need some MEPS spinners in your tackle box if you're going for brook trout. My go-to right here is the Black Fury, number 2 size with MEPS. When you get into the number 3 size, the leaf isn't that much bigger. The body is pretty well the same size, but that hook is a lot bigger. I would recommend number 2 size. They also have the hairs around the hook, which just seems to conceal the hook a little better. It makes it look more like a tail on a bait fish rather than just a great big bare hook hanging there spinning around. And also the Aglia. They seem to work really good in streams, and they catch fish. So MEPS, go with some MEPS. You're gonna want some Blue Fox and some MEPS in your tackle box. Number 3, number 3, that is a very effective lure in Algonquin, is the Panther Martin. The Panther Martin spinners, they're a little bit of a smaller profile. They have a different body shape to them, more of a bullet shape to the actual body. The leaves also have a little bit of a different curvature, more of a cup to them than the rest of the lures. But Panther Martins seem to work very well. Again, a gold or a silver. Now, like I said, buy different colors of every brand. Try them all. You might find that just one, it might be the color that's working, or it could be the action. So that's where, when you experiment, you're gonna see, well, okay, the gold Panther Martin is catching me a bunch of fish. I'm gonna throw on a gold MEPS and I'm gonna see if that catches me fish. Oh, well, the gold MEPS isn't catching me any fish. So obviously it's the action or the shape or the vibration off the Panther Martin that is working better than the Meps. And this is a number 6 size, so I guess their sizing is different, but number 6 is a good profile size for a Panther Martin spinner. Number four, and we have a kind of a tie here. I didn't know which one to pick, so I brought the old EGB spinner that I bought and a Rooster Tail. The Rooster Tail, this is a 3/8 ounce size. These are good little spinners. They have a very different, almost like a plug profile to them, just a long body. They're made of wood as well, which I find cool. I like that they're wood lures, they're not metal. I like the pattern, the kind of the perch colors, the orange, yellow, and green with the gold leaf and the little bit of hair around a single hook. Rooster Tails. I don't have a ton of experience with them. I do know they catch fish and I know they work, so I'm not going to babble on about them. Same with the EGB. They have the same pattern as the spoons I showed you. This one is a longer profile. This one is a double spinner. I like that. I bought it for that reason. I don't even know if I've thrown it on yet to try it. It's definitely going to make a lot more noise in the water, a lot more commotion. It's going to move a lot more water. Personally, I just think it's going to be a good spinner. I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. But I'm going to find out this year, and I'm going to try and catch a trout on it. We're going to see. So those are my top 5 spinner brands. I also threw, and I've shown this guy in quite a few videos so far on our page. This is not made for casting. It's made for trolling. My dad has used this lure for as long as I can remember to catch speckles, and he does really well with it. Middle of summer or right in the spring or in the fall. It works all times of the year. So that lure, which I speak of, is the Hildebrand. I've mentioned this lure a few times. The Hildebrand Gang Troll is an awesome, awesome, awesome lure. I cannot stress enough that you guys need to buy a Hildebrand and have it in your tackle. These are number 3s. I generally troll around with number 2s. Now, number 2s or number 3s, they both work. All that's different is the length of it and the size of the leaves. But as you can see, there's no hooks on it. So what I do with the Hildebrand is I will pull about 12 to 18 inches of line behind the lure, and I'll have just one long shank hook tied directly onto the line with a great big dew worm on it. And I'll troll that around, and all this lure does is it attracts the fish. They don't bite it. It's spinning, it's making a ton of commotion in the water when it's moving through, and it's flashy. There's a lot of flash on those lures. Get the gold. I believe they make a silver too. Get the gold works. Another thing you have to be conscious of with the Hildebrand is you want like a triple barrel swivel tied to it, because they will twist the crap out of your line. But it catches fish, so it's kind of like, is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. But I'm still trying to figure out the best way for it to not twist my line. If anyone has any tips on that, please leave a comment, because I would love to know. Hildebrand number 2, number 3 size gold, 4 leaves, troll a foot behind it with a dew worm on a long shank hook. You're gonna hammer speckles. Now, you guys are probably gonna think that this sounds silly. It might sound crazy, but my hot take and my number 1 bait of any bait you can use in the park is organic bait. You have to read the regulations before you go in. There are specific lakes where you're not allowed to use any sort of organic, whether it be worms or dead minnows. You can't use them. But the majority, probably 98% of the water in the park, you can use organic bait. If you're in the middle of the summer where it's hot and you got to get down deep to catch trout, the brook trout are sitting at 25, 30 feet deep, you got to get down to them, you're not going to be throwing out a hook on a worm. But if you're casting in the spring or in the fall from shore, then you have on either a dead minnow, because there's no live bait. Don't forget that. No live minnows in the park. If you're casting a dead minnow on just a hook, you don't even need a sinker. That trout right there, this one Dad caught last year, which is 4 pounds, 20-inch speckle, that was just a hook and a dead minnow. You just put on a long shank hook, thread a minnow on it, no sinker, cast it out, let it sink. Give it a little pull, reel, 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 let it sink again. Give it a little pull, reel, 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 let it sink again. And just a super slow retrieval. And a lot of times, the trout are gonna follow it right to the shoreline, especially in the spring. They're gonna come right to your feet and they're gonna hit it 5 feet from you. You're gonna watch them come in and smash it. They're gonna just come out of nowhere and they're gonna pile drive that bait. That saying, keep it simple, stupid, is true. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't overthink it. What I just showed you now with these spinners and these spoons, as well as just organic bait on hook, you're gonna have no problem catching trout. I hope this helps everybody out there that is interested in trying to catch brook trout. Please leave a comment and let me know if I left out anything. Let me know if I left out a lure that you're like, man, how did you not say that one? How did you not mention this specific lure? These are just my favorite lures. I'm not saying these are the best in the world, but they work for me. They work where I fish. They're effective and they catch fish. This is everything that I would bring into the park with me. 2 little boxes, plus my terminal tackle, my hooks and sinkers and bobbers, and my bait. That is all I would bring in, and it works. Like I said, let me know in the comments below if there's anything I left out. I'm not an expert, I'm just an average Joe. I like fishing for trout. I like fishing in Algonquin Park. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you catch some fish, and I hope that you have great luck this year. Brook trout season in Algonquin is coming up real fast. We're about 6 weeks out now, so book your trips. If you see the average Joes out on the water this year, don't be shy to say hello. We've had people say hello on pretty much every trip in the last year to 2 years now. So thank you everybody for watching. For one, that feels amazing. It makes us feel like we're doing something right. We're getting in front of the right people's eyes. You guys are watching our content and you're remembering our faces. So don't be shy, say hello. And until next time, my name is Brendan Cebulski and this is the Average Joe's Fishing Show. Don't forget to subscribe and good luck out there.